Welcome back. School districts around the U.S. are grappling with President Donald Trump's efforts to crack down on DEI initiatives. In February, the Trump administration told tens of thousands of schools and colleges they had to comply with the sweeping and vague order to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts on campuses or risk losing federal funding. Now, recently, the U.S. Department of Education walked back some of that directive. It issued new guidance saying that not all DEI initiatives actually violate the initial instructions, but by that point, the damage had been done, and many institutions are still afraid of running afoul of the new administration. Now, one of the consequences of this, a read-in of books by African-American authors for elementary school students, was pulled from one district in Iowa. While others went ahead with the program, the Waterloo Community School District withdrew, citing concerns about potential violations of federal directives. Enter Nikole Hannah-Jones, a Waterloo native, also the Pulitzer Prize-winning creator of the 1619 Project. She decided to host an alternative read-in this weekend in Iowa through her organization, the 1619 Freedom School.
They backed out because of the new directives coming out of the Trump administration. And that's really the reason that these directives exist. These anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion directives are to really intimidate school districts from teaching Black histories and Black books. And so unfortunately, my district decided that they couldn't participate for fear of consequences. That's when we at the 1619 Freedom School decided to step up.
And Nikole Hannah-Jones actually joins us now live this hour from Waterloo, Iowa, where it is even earlier. So, Nikole, we really appreciate you being here with us this morning. First, just explain a little bit more about how your event came to be and the background here with the Waterloo Community School District.
Absolutely. So as you said, one, thank you for having me on and addressing these really important issues right now. So I was born and raised in Waterloo, and I founded a after-school program here. And the director of that after-school program, the 1619 Freedom School, is my best friend from high school, and she's also a teacher in the Waterloo Community School District. So she texted me and said that this African-American read-in had been canceled and that students were supposed to receive this book by Tammy Charles. And not only did they cancel it, but they didn't send the books home with the kids. And that really bothered me because we have a gaping achievement gap in Waterloo. And the thought that you wouldn't send books home with kids because of this federal directive really upset me. So I said, well, let's find out if we can give out the books. And then I started thinking, we need to do more than that, that these directives are designed to intimidate districts, to make them overreact and overreach because they're so afraid of losing funding. I decided that we could actually hold that read-in ourselves, but we could actually make it much, much bigger. I live in Brooklyn now. I've lived there for a long time. I know a lot of famous children's book authors. And so I just called them and I was like, would you come to Waterloo, which is not easy to do. We only have 1 or 2 flights to go in and out each day. But I think everyone is looking for a way that they can fight back against what's happening when it comes to these bans. And so they agreed to come, and we're going to hold an amazing big read-in this weekend.
Yeah, and the Des Moines Register reports that the district cited these new directives that we already talked about that prohibit diversity, equity, inclusion as the reason why they canceled the event. They said that that was the advice that they got from their legal counsel. Is there anything different you would have liked to see from the district in this scenario?
I mean, I certainly wish the district had not decided to pull out of the African American read-in, because as many books as we're going to give out this weekend, in the African American read-in, every single first grader got to participate and take this book home. We're not going to reach every single first grader in the district now. So I wish that, yes, they had held the read-in. But again, this is a district that is majority non-white. It has the largest Black population of any school district in the state. And they're also facing massive budget cuts from the state. So I understand the fear that someone, from my understanding, someone made a complaint about the book. And so there was a worry that they could lose funding that they really can't afford to lose. What a lot of people don't understand is what federal funding does in districts like Waterloo that have a high poverty rate is it provides Title I funds. It provides additional funds to serve really the neediest kids. And the district didn't want to jeopardize that. So I can't really fault the district. Again, I wish they hadn't done that, but this is what aggressive directives are going to do. They're going to make districts do things that ultimately hurt our children.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to note that this is not happening in a vacuum. Some might look at this and say that the directives out of the White House really are just the latest example. You can point to the Supreme Court decision on affirmative action. You can point to some of the activism litigation we've seen against companies like the Fearless Fund. What do you think it'll take, or who do you think it'll take to see a real pushback, a real effective pushback against these policies?
Well, communities are going to have to stand up. If you look at the polling, the vast majority of Americans do not want to see the U.S. Department of Education abolished. They actually believe in a public good. So Americans are going to have to be very vocal. They're going to have to call their representatives and say that we can't defund our schools. In a diverse, the majority of public school children in the United States are people of color. The fact that books about people of color and Black people specifically are being banned, I don't care what your politics are, a free nation doesn't ban books. And so we really need to make our voices known. And I think that's why we've seen so many people signing up to come to this read-in, because people have felt really powerless. And what this read-in is showing is we in communities do have power and we need to exercise it.
Nikole Hannah-Jones, we appreciate you being with us. Good luck with the read-in this weekend. I'm sure it'll be a great success. We appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you so much.